prosecution team in regard to this matter. I have 4 assistant district attorneys who will be prosecuting this case. They are my chief of my homicide bureau, Gary Hackbush. They are the chief of my major crimes unit, John Ferraletto. They are assistant district attorney Ryan Haggerty, assistant district attorney Justin Caldwell, and I've got a 5th too, assistant district attorney Noha Elnakib. They will be my prosecution team, and they are standing behind me here right this afternoon. I want to thank them for all the work that they've done so far. I want to thank them for, and my entire office, for moving this case rather swiftly and getting everything done in a proper fashion so that we can be here right now to announce an indictment in this matter. Before I talk about the indictment, let me give you a brief procedural history of what has gone on so far and what has led us to where we're at today. As you know, the defendant was arrested within hours after the alleged incident back on May 14th. He was arrested on 1 count of murder in the 1st degree. The reason why murder in the 1st degree was chosen as the arresting charge was because the probable cause that we had at that time, right then and there, what kind of delay that there was before they went in that school. I wasn't down there. I'm not going to criticize them. I don't know what happened. We've heard times, hours, whatever, about how long it took them to get in the school. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to say it's true, but I do know what's true here in Buffalo. And I do know that from the 911 call that went out to when BPD arrived, 1 minute. I do know once BPD arrived, it took them 61 seconds to apprehend the defendant. And then I do know that after the apprehension of the defendant, it took less than 10 seconds to run into Tops. For a total of probably 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, from the time of the 911 call, BPD ran into Tops without knowing what was in there, without knowing if there was more shooters in there. That's the heroic nature of BPD, in the Buffalo Police Department. And I can't thank them enough for all that they did, all that they've done. They have, along with the FBI, have gotten us to where we're at today. And when you hear the phrase, throw the book at someone, well, in this case right here, the defendant just got War and Peace. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, District Attorney John Flynn. It is a new month in the city of Buffalo, but we will never forget what happened last month on May 14th, when 10 precious members of our community were murdered, 3 others wounded, and our entire community traumatized by a racist, hate-filled outsider who came to our community with the stated intent to kill as many black people as possible. And that outsider filmed his actions on social media and put it out for the world to see. The wheels of justice are turning very swiftly. I want to thank District Attorney John Flynn and the staff in the District Attorney's Office for their great work in moving this forward. The families of the victims have demanded and are demanding justice. The members of this community are demanding justice. And this is moving very, very quickly, as it should. Like District Attorney Flynn said, I want to recognize again the tremendous law enforcement partnership in Buffalo, Erie County, and Western New York. I want to thank the FBI, Steve Belongia, and all of the federal law enforcement agencies that work together with state law enforcement. I want to thank Governor Kathy Hochul and Superintendent Bruin for their assistance. I want to thank the Erie County Sheriff for his work and the work of his personnel. And in particular, I want to thank the members of the Buffalo Police Department, Commissioner Gramalia, Deputy Commissioner Lark, Deputy Commissioner Wright, who is with us today, and the members of the department that responded. If not for the swift response of the Buffalo Police Department, more members of our community would have been killed on May 14th, 19 days ago. So on behalf of this community, I want to say a special word of thank you to District Attorney John Flynn and his staff for their tremendous focus, for their hard work, and their unrelenting pursuit of justice in this heinous crime. Thank you.
I can't answer much, but go ahead. Go ahead.
The attorney had brought up the fact, the suspect's attorney brought up the fact that he had to plead not guilty today. Can you go into details of why exactly he had to plead not guilty?
Well, because, I mean, theoretically, the judge isn't going to allow him to say anything else, all right? I mean, when I was a judge, I had people come before me, you know, who didn't want to plead not guilty, and I offered a not guilty plea on their behalf no matter what. It's just kind of an unwritten rule. I mean, that you just it's not good form to let anyone plead not guilty. It's just, you know, I as a prosecutor, if the defendant didn't want to plead not guilty, as a prosecutor, I would have demanded him to plead not guilty, just for fairness and for the process to go forward.
Mr. Flynn, what do you need to prove? Mr. Flynn, what do you need to prove? What do you need to prove to get a conviction on the domestic terrorism charge?
I need to prove that 5 or more individuals were murdered with the intent of it being racially motivated. So the number there is 5. It's 5 or more for the domestic terrorism charge. On a murder in the first degree, it's only 2 or more.
Could you talk a little bit about the evidence itself? Just describe it a bit, like just the size. Are we talking about minutes of video, terabytes?
Yeah,
how many interviews? Anything like that?
Yeah, I can't.
Not about it, but just.
I got it. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of evidence here. There is a lot of material here. It's been talked about in the news, obviously. You know, we will do, you know, whatever. I've always had an open file policy in this office, even before the discovery rules came into effect in January of 2020. My office has had an open file policy where we give the defense everything. We have a month now to gather it all up and to give them everything we have. So again, I really can't talk about, you know, this video or that. I can't confirm it. I'm not even going to confirm or deny there's video. I mean, we all, we know what we know, okay, but I'm not going to even confirm or deny that, okay? I can just tell you that there is a lot of evidence, and we will work very closely with the defense attorneys to give them everything they need. Because again, it is, I mean, I can read you the language of the gag order, okay? The first paragraph of the gag order says that upon agreement between the defense attorneys and me, in an effort not to impact the integrity and fairness of these proceedings. So that is my goal. My goal is to make sure that this process has integrity and is fair. And whatever we can do to establish that, I assure you, I'm going to do that.
Could anyone else be charged in connection to this case?
At this time, there does not appear to be anyone else who is criminally liable. Now, again, could that change? Absolutely. But as of right now, there is no one else is on my radar to charge.
When do you expect it?
Go ahead.
What can you tell us about the
Yeah, I can't comment on that at all. Because if I do, that would kind of go toward, you know, the evidence per se and what people knew and did not know leading up to the crime. So I don't want to go there.
When do you expect federal charges? Would it coincide with what's happening?
No, it'd be totally separate. I have no idea even if federal charge will be filed. You know, I'm not in that loop at all. You know, Steve and I work as far as evidence and as far as gathering the evidence for the case. Steve and I don't talk at all about any federal charges. That's in their lane. I'll stay in my lane, but they can run parallel. There can be a state trial track and a federal trial track that goes at the same time, and neither one will impact the other. I mean, the only way it impacts is basically, you know, if I need Steve to testify for me, then, you know, I got to have him on one day and then they have him the next day. So it's just like logistics, that kind of stuff. But besides logistics, they can both go at the same time.
Are there any charges you wanted the grand jury to decide on that you said no?
I can't comment on that. Yeah.
Is the suspect's family cooperating with law enforcement?
Yeah, sorry, I can't comment on that here. Yeah. He was held under suicide watch. I'm not sure that's been lifted or not, though. It may have been, but I don't know. Yes, sir. Well, I'll fight that tooth or nail. I would. This trial needs to be tried here in Erie County. This happened in our community, and any attempt to move it out of here, I would view very unfavorably for a number of reasons. A number of reasons.
Will actually even go to trial? Or
I can't comment on that. I mean, listen here. He is innocent until proven guilty. He has the constitutional right to a trial and to a fair trial. And that, under my watch, that's what's going to happen.
What sort of influence being shared with family
Well, I'm not sure who you talked to, but every family member was notified yesterday. As soon as it was reported out, obviously it is illegal for me or anyone in my office to talk about what happened or what happens in a grand jury. So during the grand jury phase, that is entirely secret, and the family members knew that. As soon as it got reported out, now it's public. It got reported out at 9:31. At 9:32, my office was on the phone to the family, all families, to notify them what took place. In addition to that, I believe the families met here at 1 o'clock, right? Several. So we offered all the families to come here at 1 o'clock before the arraignment to walk them through the arraignment process. So the point people for all 13 families or 10 families, the point people all were notified. If some cousin out there didn't get the word, you know, I can't notify every cousin, okay? We have a point person for all the families. They were notified immediately yesterday morning.
How long do you expect this whole process to take until we have a verdict?
Yeah, that I can't tell you. I mean, I was supposed to be on a phone call this morning with the El Paso DA. Unfortunately, she had to cancel the telephone call. That Walmart crime happened a number of years ago. It's just going to trial right now. I hope it doesn't take that long here, but you know, these things do take a while, and you know, it all depends.
So this was an 18-year-old with a powerful gun that had been modified in Texas, another 18-year-old with a gun. Can you, maybe you or the mayor actually, can you step back maybe and say, what do you tell residents here about what's happening in this community and across this country about gun violence and what it has become?
As we've said, the access to guns is too easy in this country. And guns are falling into the hands of the wrong people and people who are using guns illegally against other members of the community. Just a few days ago, mayors across New York State participated in a phone call to recognize Gun Violence Awareness Month. And what mayors all across the country are saying to their communities, urban, suburban, and rural, is that we will not be silent on this issue. We are going to continue to lift our voices on this issue. And we must demand, as a country, every state in this nation, that federal lawmakers who have been resistant to doing something about sensible gun reform, that they change that stance and we take action that will prevent these kinds of mass shootings and this kind of mass murder from continuing to happen in our country.
I can't speak to when or if the federal charges will come. That's the purview of the United States Attorney, and you'd have to consult with her to answer that question. I will say the FBI and our state, local, and federal partners are continuing to vigorously work this investigation. I've said it before, we owe it to the victims of this horrible crime to not just put together prosecutions in the state or in the federal sides, but we owe it to them to tell the story of what happened, why it happened, and that's what we're doing. It's a painstaking process. There's been an enormous amount of information and data collected to date. It takes time to get through all that, and we're continuing at a very vigorous clip to do that.
And Mr. District Attorney, the speed at which this case was brought does seem extraordinary. And I know you want to speak about the evidence, but does it indicate the strength of the case you have, or the strength of what you believe happened on that day?
Not necessarily. I mean, we have, I mean, again, it's unfortunate, but we have far too many homicides here in the city of Buffalo. We've had far too many homicides for a number of years now. And so, you know, my office is equipped to handle homicide cases. Obviously, we've never had 10 at a time. And that obviously adds to the work that needs to be done. But, you know, I have a homicide prosecution bureau. I have my deputy district attorney, Mike Kane, who's here today, who oversees my homicide bureau. And, you know, we have a lot of experience in prosecuting homicides. And so, you know, our team was ready to go on day one. I mean, you know, I was at the scene. John Ferroletto and Gary Hackbush came down the tops on that Saturday afternoon. Steve was down there. The FBI was down there. Obviously, BPD. And, you know, the fact that we all knew one another, with, you know, the FBI and us, and worked together in the past, it was mainly as simple as, you know, at around 4 o'clock or so, a couple hours later, Steve and I were talking along with Commissioner Gamalia, and the three of us said, all right, we'll do this, you do that. I mean, it was like that simple. We didn't have to, like, you know, call headquarters or, like, you know, let's have a meeting about it and think about it. It was, all right, Steve, you do this, and then we'll do that. And it got done, like, right away. And so just the amount of effort and work that went into this case up front, along with, you know, our expertise, quite frankly, you know, we were able to get this matter up and running off the ground. Yeah.
And in light of everything that happened in Texas and what's coming out, can you talk about the training? Can you talk about the speed and how important that is to respond in a timely manner?
Deputy Commissioner Blake can do that.
Again, as the district attorney and the mayor said, I'm proud of the brave and quick response of our officers. We do train for this often, and the officers put their training to use.
No, just, you know, making sure, preventing that nothing happens. Obviously, it's a very high-profile case. A lot of attention in this case, and, you know, God forbid anything awful would happen. That would not look good on my watch. I don't know. I don't know. Yes, sir. Their justice is now right here. I mean, he has been indicted on 25 counts. As the mayor said, justice is moving quickly, and I can assure the families and the community that justice is being done.
How the law enforcement officers that responded, how are they doing?
Officers are strong. They're beat. Of course, they're taken aback of what happened. Officers care about this community. We participate in a lot of events in this community. And to our officers, this community is a family. So, of course, they're taken aback, but they're strong and resilient.
And I'll speak for the FBI on that. We obviously are very concerned about the well-being of the agents and analysts and professional staff who've been involved in the investigation, as well as task force officers and others. We are engaging vigorously to make sure that all of the individuals that responded to this event are getting the proper support that they need, and that will be an ongoing effort at the FBI.
I can't give you an exact date on when the TOPS will reopen, but the president of TOPS, John Persons, has committed that the TOPS will reopen, and he has indicated their plan to fully remodel the interior of the store. They will do a remodel on the exterior of the store. They are looking to provide additional offerings for the customers that use the store beyond what they had prior to this terrible tragedy. TOPS has been excellent in their response, providing for the food security of the surrounding community, making sure that members of the community that use the pharmacy to fill their prescriptions still have those services, providing counseling for employees of the store. So the commitment is that the store will open as quickly as they can do the remodeling on the interior and the exterior. So I'm very pleased with that commitment and pleased with what TOPS has done in the aftermath of this terrible tragedy. A number of people have expressed interest in a memorial. I certainly am supportive of that. We will be pulling together an effort to look at how to do that properly, sensitively, respectfully, but many members of the community have expressed a desire to see some type of memorial to the Buffalo 10.
One more question.
Have the police or FBI heard or have any investigations ongoing for individuals or groups that may have been inspired by this individual? I know these are often going on, but is there anything specific to this crime, this individual, and this situation that we have now?
As I mentioned earlier, we're turning over every rock, looking at all the data we have. Obviously, we're very concerned that there could be other indicators of potential violence or actors who we'd want to investigate. But beyond that, I can't mention any.
Nothing specific.
All right, thank you.
Can I take one more from Mike Marozia? Yeah. What?
Juneteenth is coming up in a couple of weeks, and Buffalo has celebrated that holiday for many, many years. Talk about the importance of Juneteenth this year as a means to get a community together to start healing.
Juneteenth is critically important. Buffalo has one of the largest Juneteenth celebrations in the nation. In fact, one of the largest in the world. Because of the pandemic, there has not been an in-person Juneteenth celebration for the last 2 years. So Juneteenth will be back in person this year. It's critically important, more important than ever this year, for the community to be able to gather together, for the community to continue to lift itself up, to celebrate African and African American culture, and have people from all across the region, different parts of the nation, and internationally come to Buffalo for that celebration. And I want to also note, as I conclude, that for every major special event in the city of Buffalo, there is a public safety plan that is developed by the Buffalo Police Department that often involves other law enforcement agencies. So we are looking forward to the Juneteenth Festival. It should be a very large Juneteenth festival, and there will be significant public safety support to make sure that people have a good time and a safe time.